네, All You Need Is Love 듣고 오셨습니다. 자, 우리 폴 카버 씨와 이야기를 나누고 있는데요. 얘기 계속하기 전에 일단 여러분들에게 알려드렸던 퀴즈를 다시 한번 리마인드 시켜드리도록 하겠습니다. Can you please repeat the quiz question?
Okay. A person who is residing in a country other than their native country can be referred to as 1. An extra, 2. An expat, or 3. An expo.
네, 정답을 알고 계신다면 짧은 문자는 50원, 긴 문자는 100원인 샵 1045번으로 보내주시고요. 저희 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스를 통해서 보내주셔도 되겠습니다. 정답 맞춰주신 분들 중 저희가 몇 분을 추첨해서 인절미 과자 한 박스씩 보내드리도록 하겠습니다.
지금까지 열심히 들었으면 답이
네.
한번 나오는
네.
것 같기도 하고.
네, 그렇습니다. 열심히 들어주시라는 의미에서 네, 저희가 이렇게 다음번 또 모닝데이트 들으실 때 인절미 과자 드시면서 들으시라고 드리는 거죠. 네, 폴 카버 씨와 이야기를 나누고 있는데요. 정말 아까 한국말로 인사도 너무나 멋있게 해주셨잖아요. You sound very Korean. Not only your pronunciation, but
Yeah.
you know the style of your Korean is very Korean. I don't know how I can say that. So it's kind of different from knowing the vocabulary, knowing the grammar, and also knowing the culture and how to say it properly is completely different thing. But how long have you been here in Korea?
Totally about 13 years, but I've been here, so I spent about 2.5 years here between 2000 and 2002 when I was doing my master's degree.
Yes.
And then I went back to the UK and got a job, and then in 2007 I transferred back out to Seoul with my company.
Yes.
And I've been living here continuously since 2007 now. So.
네, 벌써 한국에서의 생활이 13년. 그러면 그 앞에 2년 포함하면 does it adds up to 15 years or 13 years in total?
Probably 13 and a half, something like that by now.
네, 한국에서의 생활을 13년째 지금 즐기고 계시는데요. But when I saw your educational background, it seemed that you had some interest in this Asian region from the beginning because I believe you majored in Chinese.
Yeah, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, when I was young, so the first 2 years of middle school, my father got transferred to Australia for his work.
Yes.
So I spent 2 years living in Australia, and then in Australia, their sort of foreign language that they study is Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent like a year studying Japanese at that time, and I got kind of interested in East Asian things like that. When I was deciding what I wanted to study at university, I kind of just decided to study Chinese on a little bit of a whim.
Uh-huh.
And I went to China for a year as part of that. I spent a year studying in Beijing, and at that time I met lots of Korean people as well.
In China?
Yes, in China.
Yes.
So obviously a lot of Koreans studying Chinese as well. And then when I finished my time in China, I came over to Korea for the summer holiday to travel around and meet with some of those friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that Korea was a much nicer place to be than China. So
Was it the air?
it's the air, the people are much friendlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's I was in China in the mid-90s, so it was still quite undeveloped at that time.
Uh-huh.
So Korea was more kind of easier to live in, shall we say. So I went back to the UK and finished doing my degree in Chinese. And then when I came to graduate, I saw a poster on Korea's notice board one day saying, if you want to come and study in Korea for a master's degree, we'll give you a scholarship. So I applied and I got the scholarship and I came, and the rest is history.
So you had a wonderful invitation.
Yes.
네. 그러니까 어렸을 때부터 대학교 때부터 이제 중국에 대한 관심으로 시작한 이런 동양 쪽에 대한 관심이 이제 서서히 어떤 한국 사람들을 만나면서 이제 한국으로 자연스럽게 이어진 것 같은데요. So you must be very talented in language because I know for a foreigner, especially for a Western person, to acquire Chinese is a very difficult thing because you know the alphabets are different, the letters are different,
Right.
of course the language and the culture, they're completely different. But learning Chinese is already difficult, but you came to Korea and now you study Korean, which is, you know, totally different from Chinese. And we have a separate new character for our alphabet.
Yep.
And, you know, it's all very different. So you acquired 3 very different languages and their cultures.
Right, but I know grammatically Chinese and Korean is very different, but I think if you know Chinese, it's kind of helpful for understanding some Korean vocabularies, because obviously there's a lot of Chinese loan words in Korean. So once you can figure out the pattern for converting Chinese pronunciation into Korean, so when I first came here, I didn't know many words at all, but I could think of the word in Chinese and sort of figure out what the Korean pronunciation might be.
네.
And a lot of the time that would enable me to sort of communicate.
Wow. That actually sounds like a very complicated process.
Yeah.
네. 왜냐하면 우리도 저도 학생이었을 때 많은 이제 학교에서 그런 얘기를 하거든요. 우리가 한문을 배워야만 우리말을 더 잘할 수 있다라고 하는데 저는 아직까지도 그게 거짓말인 것 같아요. I still think it's a big lie. They're just trying to make me study more because I don't know. I could never be friendly with the Chinese character. I tried because it was in our school class,
Yeah.
but I'm still very naive to Chinese. But for you to convert that into a Chinese word and thinking back, well, I think that was a very complicated process. But so how was living for you? How was living in Korea for you in the beginning?
In the beginning, everything was very new and exciting. Korea is a very fast-paced society,
Yes.
so there's always something happening. It's like a 24-hour. Seoul's a 24-hour city, isn't it? You can go out any time of the day
Yeah.
and find something to do.
I'm actually quite proud of that culture.
Yeah.
There are not many cities around the world that actually has that kind of infrastructure.
Right. So I always say to people, like, it doesn't matter if you're jet lagged when you first come to Korea, because you can wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you can go out and find something to eat, something to drink. You can go to a PC computer room and
Yes.
do whatever, play games. So no need to worry about jet lag.
Yes. You can also shop. You can also go out do stuff.
Right. So, but apart from that, I don't know. I felt kind of at ease in Korea. So sometimes you go somewhere and it's very strange and it's a little bit disconcerting. But when I came to Korea, I kind of felt calm and like maybe this is somewhere I've been before or some hard to explain. But
Yeah. So you were not so. I guess the Asian culture in general was not. It didn't seem too much of a new thing or a cultural shock to you. So you just accepted it, as it came.
I guess having spent sort of the year before living in China, I'd seen. I don't want to say that Korea and China are the same, but there must be some similarities between sort of
Yes.
East Asian culture. So I kind of got used to that, and then coming to Korea was sort of a little bit of a step up, a little bit easier. So obviously there's some unique points about Korean culture, such as like receiving things with two hands and
Yes.
sort of turning away to have a drink,
Yes.
things like that. And it took some time to understand all those and get used to them. But
네.
now it's all sort of second nature. So when I go back to the UK, I'm also, if someone sticks out their hand to shake it, I'm sort of putting my hand to, putting two
Yes.
hands out to shake hands or accept something. So
네.
after living in Korea for 13 years or so, there's certain parts of Korean culture that are just totally entrenched in my character now. And
네, 그렇군요. 그래서 한 13년간 정말 왜 한 10년 정도면 어떤 쪽이든 약간 좀 깊이 빠져들게 되는 것 같아요. 그래서 한국의 문화도 이제 많이 일부가 되어서 오히려 영국에 갔을 때 조금 더 어색해질 수 있는 그런 모습들을 찾지 않으실까라는 그런 생각도 분명히 듭니다. But I think a lot of foreigners, when they first come to Korea, they think our 빨리빨리 문화 is rather interesting. And some people, I don't know, some people take it offensive, some people think that it doesn't make sense, but majority of the people just tend to take it as an interesting concept, especially during mealtime.
right.
네. 제가 보면 많은 외국인 친구들이요, 우리나라에 뭐든지 빨리 해야 되는 이런 문화, 빨리빨리 문화라고 하잖아요. 그 빨리빨리 문화에 저도 거기에 부적응자인데, 근데 그런 게 특히 식사 시간, 점심 시간 때 적응이 너무 안 된다라는 얘기를 하더라고요. How was that culture to you? Was it just a difference that you just accepted naturally?
I think from my point of view, when I'm the customer, it's good that I can get service very quickly.
Oh yeah.
And when I'm the person providing the service, it's kind of annoying that people want things more quickly than I can do it. So there's kind of good points and bad points in that respect. Certainly when it comes to eating lunch, personally, my mouth is not very good at having hot things.
Yes.
So if we go out for some kind of stew or soup and it comes out boiling in the dish, right?
Yes.
I can't eat it straight away. I have to sort of wait for it to cool
Yeah.
down a bit and still very carefully, like blowing each spoonful. and I've taken maybe 3 or 4 spoonfuls, and everyone around me's finishing. They're waiting for me to finish. So
Yes.
it's a little bit of a burden trying to eat things more quickly than I want to.
네.
But yeah, I think the body culture, it has good points and bad points, and just have to accept it for what it is.
So you haven't adjusted to that limited time frame that you're given for lunchtime. You still take your time when you're having hot stew?
Yeah, I still take my time. And also, Koreans eat lunch very early.
Yeah.
So in the UK, you normally have lunch at 1 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
But Korean official lunchtime is sort of 12 to 1.
Yes.
But a lot of people start going out like 11:40 or a little bit earlier, because if they go out at 12, all the restaurants are full. And
You have to stand in line.
so I found that if I eat breakfast, there's no way I'm hungry by sort of 11:40.
Oh, yeah.
So that's more of a problem than the eating quickly, I think.
아,
For me.
그렇군요.
Yeah.
네, 이건 생활 속의 습관, 정말 우리 생각해보면 오전에 만약에 아침을 먹었다 하면 11시 반이 조금 이른 시간이긴 해요. 그리고 또 그거에 비해서 저녁을 먹으려면 또 한참 기다려야 되잖아요.
Right.
I think the time frame is not really balanced in terms of a 3-meal per day concept. So maybe 1 o'clock makes more sense. But it is true that, in Korea, the companies, they just have set the time frame for lunch at 12 to 1. 네. 이렇게 시간이 좀 다른 것도 오히려 저는 반대로 있잖아요. 외국에 갔을 때 가끔 그 타임 프레임이 안 맞으면 적응이 잘 안 되더라고요. Like for instance, when I went to Spain, like I was starving at 6 or 7 o'clock, but they only start opening restaurants around 8 or 9.
Right, they have very late dinners, don't they?
Yes. And I kept on asking, don't you have any places that open earlier? Like, how do you manage to eat and then sleep straight away? When you finish your dinner at about like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., how do you manage to sleep? And then they say, well, it's a common thing for our culture. So
I guess if that's where you've grown up, it's not a big deal. It's when you're coming from somewhere else and trying to adjust to it that's a problem. I'll tell you one other problem I have with food is obviously sometimes at work you go out after work for some drinks with your colleagues, maybe have a lot to drink, and then the next day you have a hangover, right?
Yes.
So Koreans always want to have some really spicy stew to cure their hangover. But for me, that kind of thing makes me feel much worse. I'd much rather have like samgyeopsal or
삼겹살.
chadeolbaegi, something a little bit greasy.
아, 해장을 하는데.
네.
저는 해장하는데 피자 먹는다는 사람은 들어봤어요.
네.
그 기름이 도움이 된다는데 그것도 잘 믿어지지가 않는데 삼겹살이라.
영국에서는 보통 베이컨 먹거든요. 해장.
So maybe all those grease and fat do help you overcome your hangover.
I think, well, I saw a scientific report which said it doesn't, but
Okay.
but psychologically,
Psychologically.
some kind of placebo effect, I guess.
I guess. Oh well, if it works one way or the other, anyway it works. I think you can just use that. 자, 저희 서울 글로벌 센터의 폴 카버 씨와 함께 이야기를 나누고 있습니다. 여기서 노래 한 곡 듣고, 그리고 계속해서 이야기 나눌게요. This is Jess Glynn, Hold My Hand. 네, 토요일의 모닝 스페셜 서울 글로벌 센터의 센터장이신 폴 카버 씨와 모닝 데이트 진행하고 있습니다. Now, since we had that sound break, let's remind our listeners once again of the quiz question, please.
Okay. Other than their native country can be referred to as 1, an extra, 2, an expat, or 3, an expo.
네, 정답을 알고 계시면 짧은 문자는 50원, 긴 문자는 100원인 샵 1045번으로 보내주시고요. 저희 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스를 이용하셔도 되겠습니다. 정답 맞춰주신 분들 중 저희가 몇 분을 추첨해서 인절미 과자 한 박스씩 보내드리도록 하겠습니다. Okay, so I'm sure that this is a center where a lot of people come to learn more about life in Seoul and Seoul in general. So what would you say would be the 장점, the good points and the lovely parts, the lovely aspects that the city has to offer?
Yes, there's a couple of key things to note. Firstly, I think Seoul's very, very safe. Very safe. So you can see people go into coffee shops and they'll leave their phone on a table while they go and order so that they can reserve their table.
Yes.
And there's very few countries in the world where I think you can do that, because most of that, and certainly if you did it in the UK, you come back 30 seconds later and your phone would be gone, someone would have nicked it. So Seoul's very safe, so you don't need to worry when you're exploring and wandering around. Secondly, the buses and the subways are very extensive, very convenient, very cheap, so it's easy to get around, easy to explore. And thirdly, the food's great, so and there are so many restaurants around, and also sort of street food stalls and things like that. So you never have to go hungry.
네, 그렇죠. 서울의 자랑거리라고 한다면 일단 치안이 안전하다.
네.
안전하다. 그리고 사람들이 아까 얘기했듯이 이렇게 테이블에 핸드폰을 놔두고 잠깐 갔다 와도 큰 불안감이 없다는 거. 그게 아직까지는 우리 서울이 내세울 수 있는 그런 안전한 큰 장점 중에 하나죠. 그리고 또 뭐 여러 가지가 있겠습니다만은 뭐 예를 들어서 아까 처음에 얘기하셨던 24시간 동안 뭔가를 할 수 있는 도시라는 것도 저는 큰 장점이 될 것 같아요.
네.
I think, yeah, where in the world can you go and wake up at 3 a.m. and maybe if you decide that you want to go to a beauty parlor, you can find a place that is open 24 hours.
Right.
Restaurants, movies, shopping, whatever you want to do. 뭐 찜질방, 네, 모든 것들을 24시간 할 수 있는 것도 서울의 큰 장점이라고 이렇게 생각이 되고요. 또 뭐 음식, 네, 음식들,
그리고 대중교통.
네, 대중교통이 정말 편리하다는 거.
네.
네. 우리는 여기 있을 때 이게 편리한 줄 모르다가 외국에 나가서 그만큼 되는 데가 좀 어렵지 않나요? I think it's hard to find a city with our system that's so convenient and so reasonable with its price.
And easy to use for foreigners because they have all English signs everywhere and English broadcasts on the when they're announcing where the station is. So
네.
very easy to get around.
네, 우리나라에서는 정말 이 foreigner friendly한 컬처가 상당히 많이 자리 잡고 있는 것 같아요. 그래서 뭐 표지판에 영어로 써 있는 것도 그렇지만, and I know that these days you have some phone systems where you can call and ask for translations.
Right.
So I think it's a great system that we have.
But also I think the English level of the average Korean has got much better in the time I've been living here. So maybe 10 years ago when I came back, if you were lost, you stopped to ask someone on the street and they'd be very nervous about trying to give you an answer or they'd try and ignore you. But nowadays people really come up to you first of all and say, are you lost, do you need help? And their English is much, much better. So I think that, I know some people say that Koreans don't speak very good English, but I think it's definitely improved over the last 10 years. And
I think most Koreans say that. Koreans say that our English is not good enough. But if you look at all the countries around the world, I think we can be proud to say that we understand some very easy, simple conversations, and we can also express ourselves. So I think we should be proud of the level of English ability that we have.
I think people should be more confident. I think they're always focusing on trying to say something using perfect grammar and perfect pronunciation.
Perfect is the problem.
But you just need to sort of take some confidence and try to get your point across. And
네.
as a foreigner, if I'm trying to have a conversation, it's much easier to have a conversation in sort of slightly more broken English, but we're having a back and forth at a relatively quick speed. Whereas if I have to wait 30 seconds or 1 minute for you to make the perfect sentence, it's kind of hard to have a natural conversation in that situation.
네. 그렇죠. 우리도 우리말을 하는데 문법이 완벽하지 않아요. 그런데 왜 꼭 영어는 그렇게 완벽해야 한다고 스스로에게 스트레스를 주시는지 안타까운 경우들이 많습니다. 아무튼 전반적인 우리의 영어 수준도 상당히 많이 올라갔고 그렇기 때문에 더욱더 많은 외국분들이 우리나라에서 편하게 이렇게 지낼 수 있는 것이 아닌가라고 생각합니다. 참 많은 것들이 바뀌었어요. 불과 한 10수년 전만 해도 우리는 단일 민족 이야기를 했었고 또 그리고 영어가 너무 어렵다 이런 얘기를 했었는데 여러 가지 장벽들도 무너지고 또 많은 외국분들이 우리의 사회 속에 그리고 우리의 전통 속에 지금 이제는 모두가 하나가 되어서 살아가고 있는 그런 모습인 것 같습니다. 외국분들이 더욱더 한국 생활 그리고 서울 생활을 즐길 수 있게끔 편하게 적응할 수 있게끔 도와주는 서울 글로벌 센터의 폴 카버 센터장님과 이야기를 나눠보는 모닝 데이트 시간이었습니다. Okay, well, it's almost time for us to say goodbye. But before you go, would you like to please give us the answer to the quiz question that we gave out earlier?
Okay, so the question was, a person who is residing in a country other than their native country can be referred to as 1. Extra, 2. Expat, 3. Expo, and the correct answer is number 2. Expat.
네, 정답은 2번 expat이었습니다. 정답 맞춰주신 분들 중 저희가 추첨을 통해서 인절미 과자 한 박스씩 보내드릴 텐데요. 어떤 분들이 받아가실지는 저희 인터넷 게시판을 확인해 주시기 바랍니다.